Rhode Allen here. Thanks everybody for watching today and being a part of our conversation. It's the holidays. It's hard to believe Thanksgiving is past us and we're already getting into the Christmas season, Hanukkah season, however you celebrate. But today we're talking about Dognapped, Hound for the Holidays, an Ion original feature film, which is streaming now. We're chatting with Kimberly Guerrero, who stars in this fun holiday film. Thank you for hanging out today. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's nice meeting you too.
Well, this is just like a big, warm gingerbread hug. It's just a fun film. And if you like these types of movies, which there's no reason why I shouldn't, this one is definitely for you. What can people expect if they haven't had the opportunity to watch it yet? Because it's a great film. It's been streaming for a little bit. And it's a can't miss on the holiday list for people to watch, for sure.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's got the holiday film aspect, but it's also a dog movie. So animal lovers will love it too. I mean, what's more joyful than a Christmas movie and a dog movie all rolled into one, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, is like the old saying is, working with kids, working with the animals, but these dogs are so darn adorable. I mean, you just can't go wrong, for sure.
Yeah. So the lead dog in our movie, he's a dog actor, Falcor. He was so fun to work with. I've never worked with animals before.
Okay.
So this was a first. And my character, Victoria Frost, is supposed to be, I'm very uncomfortable around dogs. I love animals myself. I'm a huge animal lover. So that was a challenge. But it was really a good experience. I wondered what it would be like, but these animal actors are pros. It's crazy.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, because I don't think I've ever spoken to anybody who's worked with animals before, unless you count Blue from Blue's Clues, but he's not really real. Like, what kind of preparation does it take? What's expected of you when you're working with these animal actors? I think people would find that interesting.
The animals are pros. They have a handler on set, and they take cues. There's this one moment in the film where I'm supposed to act like Falcor the dog bites me, even though he doesn't. My character is she's egotistical and she's a nut. So they took like a little piece of chicken to get him to like bite at the chicken, to pretend like he bites me. So there's all these little tricks they do with animals while you're filming. That was really like fun to see, because I never worked with one before.
That is very fascinating. I think it's just very cool, the world that you're a part of, because you get to do so many fun and interesting things. I think that has to be something that drives you as an actor and storyteller, because it's a different experience every time, right?
Oh, 100%. And working on a Christmas film was so magical. This is the second holiday film I've ever worked on. I did another one in the past for Ion, a holiday heist, but this is the first time that I had a lead and carried a Christmas movie. And it was such a fun experience. We shot in July.
Of course.
So we shot in the middle of a heat wave. It was like 108 degrees.
Oh boy.
I'm in sweaters. My character is in a faux fur coat for half of the movie. And that's always a challenge, but it's amazing, like the magic that goes behind these, because when you watch it, it looks like it takes place, in the middle of December.
Yes, I've often heard that said before. A lot of these holiday films, they do take place in winter, quote unquote, but are also filmed like in the heat of the summer, whether it's in Atlanta or North Carolina or somebody like that. So I really test your skill set as an actor, right? Because if you're acting like you're cold or whatever the case might be, and it's like 105 with like 60% humidity.
Right. Right. I mean, we shot a lot of the movie on the studio lot in Van Nuys too, which was like a little like Main Street USA.
Yeah.
And once you get like all of the props and everyone's in like the holiday spirit, I mean, you kind of forget that you're in the middle of summer until you're sweating. And then, in between takes, you're like dying. It's funny how to get these out in time for the holidays, a lot of them shoot in the middle of the summer.
Yeah, you would have to. I mean, unless even like the bigger budget films, like the studio pictures and things like that, those often take place way sooner. And plus you have the availability of your actors and dogs, so to speak, for this film in particular. Where did the storytelling journey begin for you? Because you've been a part of so many great projects. Where was that first project at that you got bit by the bug and knew this was what you wanted to do for a career?
It happened really, really early for me. I booked my first like national voiceover commercial job, which turned into a whole like string of commercials when I was 8 years old.
Okay.
So I started really early in the business. I didn't, I did it as a kid as much as you could do. I grew up in Arizona, so
Okay.
the market in Arizona isn't huge. Back then, there wasn't a whole lot. So I did everything I could do. And then years later, when I moved to Los Angeles, like in my adult life, that's when, I started acting professionally. I really lucked out because I went to a modeling and talent competition when I was in high school in New York.
Okay.
And sometimes you're like, are these like kind of like, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? It was kind of like a chance thing that I went and did. And I actually met my manager there that I still am with today. So
Wow.
I really lucked out because by the time I moved out to Los Angeles in my 20s, I already had a rep, which is huge. And that's a really difficult thing to do when you move out here.
Yeah, I mean, to have all of that in place before you even get there, I mean, that's like half the battle right there, is getting somebody to rep you and send you out for auditions and things. So, I mean, you did do a lot early, which is not common for your job. I mean, it can be, but it doesn't happen all that often, right?
Totally. And it was funny because when I moved out here, reality really set in that you're in a big pool of actors. And even if you are the most talented person in your hometown, like LA or New York or Atlanta, it's filled with the most talented people in the world. So even if you have a rep, you're thrown into this really big pool of talent. And, you get a lot of no's in this business. But I think if you persevere through that and work really hard, like those turn into yeses.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, hard work definitely works, especially in your job, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you might see the same casting director or whoever multiple times, but it's only just because they're trying to find the best part.
Yeah, even for this role, I read for this casting director for 4 other Christmas films this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then when I read for this movie, I didn't even read for Victoria. I read for another role, and it's so funny because they called me and offered me the role of Victoria, who I didn't even read for, and they were like,
Interesting.
"We like saw something in an audition you had that you could tackle this character." And when I read her, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is going to be so much fun!" Like I've never played. I mean, I've played a little bit of a villain role, but not to the point that I do in this film, because she's just it was just a really fun role to tackle.
Yeah, well, it's a great film, and you and the rest of the cast do fantastic work.
Yeah.
Dognapped, Hound for the holidays. It's now streaming on Ion, an original holiday movie. Kimberly, thank you for your time today. I appreciate it. It's been fun chatting.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.